when did you first go to sea? How old were you, and what was your first ship?
Well, my first ship was the Cardross, and I actually joined the Seamen's Union on the 29th of April. Jesus Christ, I can't even remember what it was. What was early? I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, mate. 1940. 48, yeah.
That's right, correct,
Yeah.
1948, yeah. But the
But wasn't your first ship one before that?
well, it was a Lara, but it never left the wharf.
Doesn't matter, it's still your first ship.
And it went into lay-up. It was decommissioned. But I was very lucky in a way to join that Cardross because it was pretty grim for kids, for boys, young boys. And of course, in those days, you weren't allowed in the pickup. We were all out in the street. We used to sit out in the gutter and stare into space, hoping that something might come along. But I was very pleased about that because the other thing about it was there was a terrific crew there, very union-conscious people who made sure that when that card was actually laid up, as did the Alara and quite a few more of them, that I was kept working by that ship. I've got a lot to thank them for that, because that's how I completed my time so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And with a stroke of luck later, I also finished in the Orangi, which was an incredible stroke of luck, as the coal strike arrived.
Yeah.
And I stayed there and completed my time. So technically speaking, I did the whole thing, all of it in 3 years, which was brilliant.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
A lot of other younger people, unfortunately, missed out where it would have taken 3, 4, maybe 6 years to get the timing. Yeah. But I was very, very pleased about that. But wage-wise, with that Cardross, I'm sure she was the Makara. There were two of them, the two sister ships, Macumba and Makara. I'm sure she was pretty near sure she was the Makara. But wage-wise and all that sort of thing was absolutely appalling. My wages as a boy were £6.9 a month. And I just couldn't get over, even then as a boy, I couldn't understand. I thought, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that went on, and of course, as I got my first ordinary seaman's job, it went to £18 a month, which sort of made things look pretty good. And AB-wise, I think it went as high as very close to £32 a month, which was rather good. But there was never a lot of money in the industry because if you didn't work 3 hours overtime a day, the whole thing floated on overtime, and if you didn't work 3 hours a day, mate, you were pretty poverty-stricken, I can tell you.
Yeah.
You know. But actually, going back to that Cardross for a moment, she was a general cargo carrier.
Yeah.
She could have gone anywhere, actually. But Patrick's wanted it exclusively for the Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane run, which worked very well for them because it was highly successful.
Oh, yeah.
Culcairn and all they did that. They incorporated Carradale, Carlisle, Cardross, Culcairn, and later they brought the Daylesford in, which was in use in Western Australia for the state government, state ships.
Oh, yeah.
But they sent it back, and so good was the business for Patrick's at the time that they got the Daylesford as well and filled that in. And of course, so much for them telling you how they were going broke every day of the week.
Yeah.
Like particularly when I was in when I joined John Burke's, I was in the little Bedida, and I noticed with a fair bit of hilarity about this that John Burke's had been going broke since 1872. It was rather hilarious. But there was a wonderful atmosphere with the crew. They were just brilliant.
Yeah.
And they really looked after me, and I was taught very well, trained very well. She had 2 bosuns that the Alara didn't matter because it didn't exist actually. But the Cardross, there were 3 bosuns there over that period that I was there. They were tremendous. They took a great interest in me because they could see that I was interested as well. But also, on the advice of our branch officials, I was advised to take particular notice of what I was being taught because it was very important that I do my job properly. Because they had to go into bat for me and they expected me to produce the goods. Yeah. And that's the way it was. Yeah. And I always respected them for that. And we had some of the most wonderful officials you could ever imagine. They were just marvellous. It doesn't, irrespective of what people may have thought in general terms about the political aspects of it all, it made no difference to me because these blokes were going into bat for us. You know what I mean? They were just wonderful. And they always seemed to me to have their finger on the pulse. And they made so much sense. And when I used to go to those old stop work meetings at the Coal Lumpers Hall at Millers Point, they were very robust. There was always some robust.
Yeah.
I mean, people were pretty tough. There were some very tough people around, but I mean, it was always robust. And the one bloke that put this wonderful calming edge on the whole thing was Elliot Valenzelli.
Yeah.
He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He had this wonderful understanding of how it all worked, you know what I mean? And things that I thought were wrong, he could just tear me a brass paper
Yeah.
and say, listen, this is how it is. And sure enough, he was right. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next question.
What type of ship was the Cardross?
She was a general cargo
General
carrier. She was a
cargo.
coal-fired steamer.
Oh yeah.
She had 4 hatches. They had a fair bit of gear on them. They had a full set of gear on each hatch.
Yeah.
And actually, for the times, it was very efficient.
Yeah.
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 But and they did very well. Patrick's did very well out of it.
Yeah.
But the accommodation was absolutely appalling.
Yeah.
When the ship laid up, and I worked by with the old bosun and the lovely old guy who was the donkeyman, he kept steam going, and for us to do our work like stripping derricks and all that sort of stuff. It just went to show how they had to reconvert the accommodation.
Oh,
They
yeah.
put a little bit. They put actually a dog box on the poop,
Yeah.
but it was so much better. I mean, it made a huge difference to people. You know what I mean? And if it hadn't been for the union demanding all these improvements,
Yeah.
it'd have been as bad as it ever was, or worse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Next question.
Now, hey, I'm the bosun here.
Sorry,
Right?
mate. Yeah.
Okay. Even before you got away to sea on the Cardross and the other one that was alongside the wharf, you had something to do with the sea before that, didn't you?
Well, yes, I was in these fishing trawlers.
Yeah.
And because part of my family came from the south coast.
Yeah.
And as a young lad, I got to know quite a few of the fishermen who were running for the Patrisi brothers and all these people working out of Kiamba, but more so Ulladulla, Bateman's Bay and Eden and all that sort of thing. And I used to work on those trawlers, but the wages were non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, and bloody hard work, mate, I can tell you. Yeah. And if there was a run on, you know what I mean, you were there, you stay there, you might be there for 36 hours. But that I'm so glad to get away from that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but of course I was grateful for in this sense that at least I was getting a quid for myself, you know.
Yeah. And then you got away on the Watson Gully.
Well, I actually was very lucky as far as the Cardross is concerned. It's funny how things happen, but I'm sure they got the wrong bloke at the pickup. Because I'm not going to mention a name, but I mean, it was not my name.
Yeah.
But they were stuck because I'm there
Yeah.
and he's got me.
Yeah.
See? And the vigilant officer was going to make sure that I was about to sign on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Can you remember how many was in the crew on the Cardross?
Well, the accommodation was on the poop. We had 12, we had a bosun's mate, 10 ABs, a deck boy and an ordinary seaman, and on the starboard side of the poop we had 6 firemen. No, hang on. Yeah, 6 firemen, I think 3 trimmers, 3 greasers and a donkeyman. So I'm thinking maybe 35.
Yeah, that's all up with their mates and engineers and
Oh,
everything.
no, mates and engineers
How
came later.
many all up? Roughly.
35, 40, say about 45.
45, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fair whack, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering you've got next to no one on a ship these days.
Well, that's true. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But of course, if you think that, yeah, well, that's what. Well, yes,
Yeah.
the difference now is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the other way too, after that, I had my stroke of luck when I joined the Orangi in that coal strike. I
Yeah.
mentioned to you that earlier. If you're thinking about looking at clues and numbers and all that sort of thing, I should point out to you here, I hasten to point out that there was a bosun, a bosun's mate, a lamp trimmer, 32 ABs,
Yeah.
4 ordinary seamen, of which I was 1, and 6 deck boys,
Yeah.
4 crew attendants, and the down below mob, and they lived aft, but I'm not quite sure how many there were, but the number was 76
Yeah.
seamen junior members.
But she was a passenger ship, wasn't she?
She was a passenger ship, she had 8 hatches.
Where did she run?
Well, she was owned by the Union Steamship Company of New Zealand, but what they did, she came under the umbrella of the Canadian Pacific
Oh, yeah.
line. See,
Yeah.
Canadian Pacific was linked up with railways, you know,
Yeah.
you name it, and she was the maritime link
Yeah.
with them. So what it was Australia, New Zealand, Fijian Islands, Hawaiian Islands, North America or Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia, and Victoria. Also, occasionally, they would have jumped into San Francisco.
Yeah.
But that trip was around about approximately 8 weeks, and I really liked it. I learned a lot. I was taught a lot, you know. I really liked, and I completed my time there, which was so much better for me, you know. As I said, members of my age at that time, a lot of them found it very, very difficult to get their time in.
Yeah.
But I was really pleased with that. But it's a marvellous thing, like, bearing the comparison between them, you say to yourself, what happens now?
Yeah.
What have we got now? About 14, if we're lucky, which is absolutely awful when you think about it. And I'm often thinking about the safety factors. You know, they're talking about all the big U-boot electronics and all that sort of thing. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't misunderstand me when I say that. But there are other elements. There are natural, important elements that are required. Lookouts and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's right, mate. What made you go to sea?
Well, I'll tell you a funny thing happened to me. My father said to me one day, there's a windjammer coming to Australia. He used to be it was only a little Mickey Mouse ticket, but he used to be chief officer, or the mate on these island traders up around the Solomon Islands.
Oh, yeah.
But he was sort of very familiar with sail and all that sort of thing. And he said to me, there's a magnificent windjammer coming here soon, the Loyal.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, oh, the Loyal. Anyhow, down, when it arrived, ultimately when it arrived, down we went, I was fascinated. I said, but this is wonderful, you know what I mean? And of course, I would have loved to jump on it because I was far too young. So.
Yeah.
But that's what actually inspired me, more than anything else. Yeah.
Well, we've done 3 blokes out of sail that were on the Passat.
Oh, the Passat.
Brian Peters.
How lucky was he to get out of that?
Maxie Wood.
Yeah.
And Passat or Palmier, whichever one.
No, Palmier, I would say.
Palmier then.
Well, what happened to the Passat? She went down with all hands.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, it was the Palmier.
Yeah, it must have been the Palmier.
John Quinn, who's now ex-A&L captain.
Yeah, yeah.
Maxie Woods, who's now, after God knows how long, back at sea.
That's right, yeah.
And Brian Peters, who was on it up until, I think, the early 50s.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm very pleased to think that Max is back because we did talk about that at the last Old Timers, as a matter of fact. Yeah. And is he taking over well? He looks.
As far as I know, mate, I seen him at Tall Lindquist's funeral. It was the last time I seen him. And he looked pretty good then. He was telling me then the only thing he was waiting for was his results from the either the doctor or his STCW 95 back. Oh, and his wife to come back from wherever, Thailand or wherever she was. Thailand. And as soon as she came back, and then I heard that he joined the River Embley as AB.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. When you got away, mate, what were the conditions like? You know, your hours of work, your wages, your leave?
Well, they weren't crash on at all. Yeah. I think we finished up with 2 weeks leave a year, but what happened with the wages? They were very, very poor. Very poor. But a funny thing about Patrick's, that particular ship that I was on, the tucker was very good, but as I say, the accommodation was bloody awful. Yeah. And Patrick's operated. They were very mean. There was no way in the world, if they could avoid paying you 1 hour's overtime, they do everything they could on this planet to stop you getting an hour's overtime because that's how mean they were. You know, but if there had been a bit of overtime on them, it would have been all right. But see, they were popular, strange as it may seem, because a lot of married blokes used to jump on one of them. There's always a job in them. Yeah. Because it was Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and they were sort of close if they had young children. Yeah. You know what I mean? They wouldn't stay long, but it was a sort of a on and off thing for them. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the conditions were not good. I mean, if they could do it, you'd be working day and night for nothing. Yeah, yeah.
Them days, they're roughly. I suppose it all depended on the cargo and that too. But how long did you roughly get in port?
Well, they tried to work that to arrive on a Monday and depart on a Friday, which meant that they would deliberately try to have a weekend at sea. Yeah. Because with the speed of 10 knots, they could travel the 500 miles between the major ports within the 48 hours approximately, you know what I mean? And that's how it worked for them. But actually it worked very well for them, see? Because they, in 9 cases out of 10, barring extremely bad weather, they used to have a Monday, Friday cargo operation. Yeah. And it did work for them very well. Yeah. But an awful lot of other ships didn't go too well because make these crazy estimates about who can I do this, we're going to do that, and they go, it's just bullshit. They're not going to do it at all, because when Mother Nature decides that something's about to take place, it'll take place.
Oh, that's right.
And you'll have your destiny is already arranged for you, long before you think about anything else.
Yeah, that's true, mate. Yeah. When you first started, what were your duties in that as a deck boy, and then as you progressed up Bucko, AB, how did they?
Well, in those days, Wayne, what happened was the deck boy would stay in the accommodation till 11 a.m. You'd scrub decks, you'd scrub benches, and run tucker down from the galley midships, general cleaning and all that sort of thing, and whatever the bosun wanted to do around the place, accommodation-wise. And in some of those ships, and particularly the gondolas, that old man, he was a fiend. He was down there every day of the week to look at the accommodation. Yeah. And at 11 o'clock, you went out on deck till 5 o'clock, and that's when you carried on with you.
Yeah.
But that's what, and there was no, as I say, nothing after 5 o'clock. But what I used to do after 5 o'clock, the bosun, particularly one other bosun, I'd be doing rope work and even McRamey, anything at all to keep me ticking over, to learn to be a seaman. That's what he wanted. He said, I want you to be a seaman. Yeah. That's exactly what you will be. Yeah. And I was really glad about that, because they took this great interest,
Yeah. You've, on that one there, you were saying that the food was all right, but over the years, I suppose you got some good and some bad. And
some good, some bad. Some of it was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
Some of it made me feel like it had just come out of the crematorium. Yeah. It was absolutely dreadful, As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something about food. I was on the Kimona, and the cook there, it was so bad that we finished up, because there was no other way out of this, we finished up chucking our hands in. We walked off the ship. Yeah. It was just absolutely appalling.
It was easier to get rid of a skipper than a cook, wasn't it?
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, you see, with the cook, Judy Hope was the secretary of the cooks, the catering and that, and he was a very dedicated man to his own membership. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I wouldn't knock him for one minute. Yeah. But in this case, it went to the extreme. We got turfed out of it, and the one that should have gone was the cook. He was absolutely dreadful, and he had no conscience whatsoever. If I'd have suffered the abuse and been the victim of the abuse that was administered to him by us, I'd have said, it's time to pack my gear. Yeah. I mean, my conscience would demand that I do it. Yeah, but with him, he didn't have one. Yeah. See? And that was a bit sad in a way. Yeah. But generally speaking, the food was, some ships were very good. Yeah. It's quite amazing. Some of those BHP ships were very good. And of course, some of them were absolutely atrocious.
Oh, yeah. In the way of wet weather gear and linen and all that sort of stuff, what did the employer cough up with?
Well, all we had was it was all our own gear. Yeah. Yeah. There were sheets, blankets, sheets, and a pillow. But in anything else, forget it. It was all your gear, your industrial gear. You bought it yourself. Yeah. You took it out on the deck, scrubbed it. You hope it was going to rain. You put an old bar of soap all over that. Hope to Christ it was going to rain, so you can give it a scrub. You know. But no, they didn't. They would give you absolutely nothing. Yeah. If it was conceivably possible to give you nothing, that's exactly how it would have been. Yeah. And then but fortunately, as I say, at the risk of repeating myself, fortunately for the union, it was very, very aware of the situation. They never gave up. They kept plodding away at it. You know what I mean? Accommodation-wise and all that sort of thing, improvement of tucker and industrial clothing and all that, which ultimately came to us. You know. The union, they never gave up on it.
No, that's right, mate. They give you nothing. If they could have took that off you, they would have took it off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're so right. That's exactly what they would have done. Yeah.
Over your years at sea, you would have seen all different types of ships and that.
Oh, yeah.
What? Tell us about some of them.
Well, I've been quite a number. I've been a little, I've been in those big heavy iron boats, Kimberley.
My first job.
Oh, really? Yeah, Kimberley and the Wyndham. Yeah. I was in the old Iron Warrior. She was an old E-class vessel. She had the old lattice work derricks.
She was a Clounder, wasn't she?
No. This was
the older one.
No, she was called the Arena.
Oh yeah. And then there was the next one, which was the Clounder.
That's right. Later, yes, that's right. But that's strange, different. Well, I mean, I suppose up until about 1970. they were all very much the same.
Yeah.
Like the passenger ship situation, I was in the Duntroon. She was an old style designed vessel, but it was very successful for the Melbourne Steamship Company, you know what I mean? She had about, 5 or 6 hatches, but she was nowhere near, she had nowhere near the equipment that the Orangi had for a start. But I just can't think of the others. Double funnel shop, the Wanganella and all those, they're all very much the same, almost, you know, not the same design, but I mean, it's the same concept. Passengers and bulk, cargo, passengers accommodation, cargo, for them, you know, luggage and all that, luggage spaces and all that. Yeah. But the 1970, the big change came when the containerisation, they were right into it, you know. As a matter of fact, on the Binborough and the Bilkara, I was with your dad on the Binborough, I think we were there for about 4 years. And just as we left, containerisation was about to take place. As a matter of fact, they pulled the rigging out of the Bilkara and they put these huge tripods on the masts to make room for another 8 containers on both sides of the deck. That's how convinced they were that it was all coming, and I tell you what, they got that right. That's one of the very few. The only thing about it was it made an enormous amount of hardware for us, and they weren't worried about us, they weren't thinking about us, mate. They were thinking about what was at the end of the next container full of cargo. How much are we going to get out of this? Mucho gracias.
Yeah, that's right,
But 1970, that's when the change came. Like the trader class from...
The Black Widows.
Well, the A&L, well, they got in the act. As a matter of fact, the funny thing about that, spent very little time on ships because it was almost appeared to be casual, the industry. But when I shipped out of Brisbane, I got married here in Queensland, I swore that I'd never, ever get caught again in that pickup in Brisbane. It was a nightmare. I had 6 months in that place once. I said, I'll never ever go through this again. And what we used to do, we used to jump on a train on a Sunday night and go to Newcastle and pick up some grubby, cheesy iron boat. But that beat the hell out of beating it, you know what I mean? And if you had a family to keep, mate, you had just to keep moving. But with those trader class, that Billy Bird, he did a couple of reliefs on them, one of those traders. And he said, scientists have been trying to find it. He said, they've discovered it. He said, the perpetual motion. He said, it's on a trader class. That's where it is. And it was too. Day and night, Bass Strait, up, in and out, 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, away. Well, I mean, you were there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's when the big changes came, the very noticeable changes. But something else happened that wasn't very amusing, I didn't think, but when I was a boy, or much younger, in the industry, it was always important. Old bosuns would keep telling you, the cargo had to be under deck. Today, it's all on the deck. There's 6 and 7 high, for God's sake. And they'll probably be 10 high. The only thing that stops them is they can't see over the bridge.
That's right.
Isn't that incredible?
Well, remember the bloody Black Widows had it on the flight deck, and then they had up in under.
She had 5 decks.
Then, did they ever use that bottom deck on the Brisbane train?
No, the void space was always empty.
And yet it was perfectly good cargo space.
Well, it was. It could have been, yes, They actually they did very well, those traders. They made a lot of money out of it. But you see, the thing is, I mean, how could they not make money? They'd arrive at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning. They'd be discharged at 11. They'd be fully loaded at 6 p.m. I mean, how could you not? How could you fail? Right. And they do. In that Brisbane trader, she's been on the Darwin run, the West Darwin, North Queensland. They wouldn't have made a lot of money out of it because they come back empty. But when they finally decided to put her on that Strait run, they just made mega bucks.
They would have.
They couldn't count the money. It was just it was quite amazing. Day in and day out, and they'd lay over one day, which would probably generally be a Saturday night, depending entirely on the weather situation. They'd lay over on a Saturday night and pull a piston or something like that. You know what I mean? But then they were laying, they're into it again. They were shocking bloody jobs. You just never stopped.
Now, on that Brisbane trader, you were one of them got hurt, wasn't it?
I got with me and Stingy.
Gangways.
Stingy Johansson. We got trapped on that gangway. I got my leg caught in. It's an escalating gangway. He got caught. We were both together working on it, and that put me out of it for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I could have done without, I can tell you.
Oh shit, yeah.
But the trouble was, you see, it was an absurd, to be honest with you, it was an absurd gangway.
Yeah.
It must have been 65, 70 feet long.
Oh shit, yeah, they were big ones.
And with the escalation, it was just absolutely
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
You know. It should have been secured in one deck below.
Yeah, down the flight deck, yeah.
Yes, and it would have been so much better for
Yeah.
everybody, you know what I mean? But some said we had some dreadful trips across there too,
Yeah.
the Bass Strait. If anybody's ever worried about having a bad night, they slip onto the Bass Strait. Try that, it's marvellous.
I remember
Around
seeing...
about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing, I think it was in Brisbane, when they did, and I think you only did a couple of trips to the west, didn't you?
Oh, she did, about a year.
About a year, yeah. It wasn't all that long.
No.
But I remember coming back from Port Ellen on the Iron Bogong, and just down around bloody Albany there, we were just a long, slow swell, you know, just that long, easy roll.
Yeah.
And there was the bloody trader. She was bouncing around, thinking of poor bastards across there. Yeah.
You're not wrong, mate. Yeah.
How long did you end up staying on the Brisbane trader?
Well, I was talking to a mate of mine a few weeks ago about how you sort of felt that you were contained within a situation where the jobs were reporting. You might get 6 weeks here, 7 weeks here, 5 weeks here, 4 weeks here, you know, or you might get 3 months.
Yeah.
It all depends. But I finished up on that ship. I was there for 17 years.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
And I swore I would never, ever go back into that pickup.
Yeah.
Now, well, I finally did, of course. I finished up in the pickup again. But I thought, and that's how, and people would say to me, how did you do it? But I mean, I had a family to keep.
Yeah.
And the thing was, Queensland was notoriously poor for shipping.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in a position to want to move. We just couldn't afford it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I got it here a couple of years ago. I remember there was a history on, or one of these books that comes out, and the Townsville trader had gone to the breakers, the Sydney trader had gone to the breakers, and I'm sure it was the Brisbane trader they'd sold to a Greek mob, and they converted them to a passenger ship. As far as I know, she's still going.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. So I was telling, you know, Ralph McDonnell?
Oh, yes, yeah.
When we brought the Helix out from Poland, we were the first Aussie ship to load at Port Sules. It was like just a platform out in the middle of the sea there.
I'm with you.
And when the convoy went past, the Flinders Range, but right behind the Flinders Range was the Princess of Tasmania.
You'd wonder, wouldn't you? Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
In the same book, this book that Russell Priest puts out, it's called The Log, I believe that she went to the breakers a year ago, the Princess of Tasmania.
Really? That's amazing.
That's over 50-year-old.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. Absolutely, yeah. But those traders, the one that we were on, see, with her, we had more time than probably any of the trader class for maintenance.
Yeah.
Especially on the Western Run, that you've got no idea how much time he had to.
Yeah.
And that's why she was in very good condition. Strange as it may seem. I mean, given the fact that on the Tasmanian Run, I mean, it was just all over Red Rover, just forget about the maintenance, you know.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we had some very ambitious officers there who really wanted to get stuck into the maintenance. And we're saying, wait a minute, maintenance, less cargo, who's going to do all this stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why they did sell them. They got a quid out of it, you know.
Yeah, I remember the first one I was on was a Townsville trader, and when Apple Bevan was the base now.
That's right, yeah.
And when I joined it, he put a podger in my hand and said, "You won't let go of that until you pay off." And I just laughed. He thought he was bloody being funny, you know. But he was right. They were workhorses.
I know they were.
But bloody good jobs, but you know, just workhorses.
Oh, of course, of course. It was a real day and night thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Over the years you've been at sea, you would have come across a few characters. That one bloke we just talked about a while ago that was with you on the Brisbane trader.
Oh yes, yeah.
Terry.
Can I mention names? Or?
Yeah.
Well, I would say that Terry Boucher he was an outstanding shipmate.
Yeah.
He was a very genuinely concerned trade unionist, and he was very clever. He had a very good mind.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The moment you saw a stub in his head, it was time to leave the premises.
Oh shit, yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable. But he was probably one of the nicest blokes you'd ever wished to meet, and also he was an incredibly good worker.
Yeah.
You could always, when I was the sheriff on that Brisbane trader, I knew all I had to say to Terry, blah blah blah, whatever we did. There was no one that would ever have to go near him again, because I knew it was going to be spot on. You know, he was amazing. But he had a wonderful attitude as far as the union was concerned
Yeah.
too. He had a great foresight, you know.
Yeah.
And he was very proud of the union, as I am,
Yeah.
and I always will be. As a matter of fact, it was probably one of the proudest moment of my life when I got my union book.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
But he's just a superb bloke. There are some other nice guys around, they're different characters, quieter, calmer people,
Yeah.
you know. But he comes to mind. But a funny thing, I'll tell you what, one of the most likeable people that I think I met, apart from my dad, who was probably one of the best watch mates I think I've ever had, was Keithy Atkin.
Oh yeah.
Keithy Atkin was a lovely bloke. He was calmer. He was a walking calmer.
Yeah.
If he said, listen, if you go berserk and start screaming and jumping up and down and foam come out of your mouth and everything, he said, I'll tell you
you've
what
lost
happens.
it.
He said, I'll tell you what happens.
Yeah.
He said, you've lost 2 more weeks of your life.
Yeah.
2 weeks of your life disappears. So he said, behave yourself. Think about this. See? And I used to go, ah! And I want to murder everybody, and everything was wrong, nothing was right, see?
Yeah.
And then I started saying, hang on a minute, I think I'll have to sort myself out. And all due to people like him.
Yeah.
He was just a lovely bloke.
Yeah.
He was extremely reliable too. I can't think of that other wonderful bloke that was on that trader with me. Donny, his father was a lighthouse keeper for many years up around North Queensland. Donny, geez, he was a lovely
Just
bloke.
while you're thinking that, I've got to one of these days get in touch with Tex and tell him that his mate, who was chief mate on that trader with you, who Tex begged him to sack him quite a few times, just retired not so long ago, Maury Cable.
Oh yeah, Maury Cable. Yeah.
He retired last year, I think it was.
Oh,
he
has
was
it?
a Port Phillip pilot.
That's
before
right,
that.
yes, I remember, yeah. Well, he was the chief officer in the trader when we were there.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the first time I met him, he was I think he was the second or the third mate of the Brisbane Trader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he elevated himself to the peerage very quickly, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Actually, he's a pretty nice sort of a bloke. A lot of blokes sort of got a bit tangled up with him, but I mean, I'll tell you the funny thing about him. If you went out and did your job, that was it. That's all that was required.
What about that other lunatic mate that was on the... I don't know how long he was on the Brisbane Trader with you, that Miles?
Oh!
You remember Miles?
Yeah, I do. I remember him, yeah. I used to wonder...
The look says everything, Smithy. I don't have to say nothing else.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be derogatory,
Yeah.
you know. But a funny thing happens with him, Paul Miles. When we put the door down, the stern door down, everybody would say, was he on the inside or the outside?
Yeah, outside, yeah.
That's how vague he was. You know, he's very vague. Yeah.
He was, I forget what ship it was
He'd
on.
have retired now, I think.
Yeah, he'd have to have. He was out in the wing of the bridge and he had a cigarette in one hand and the sextant, I think it was, in the other hand. And the old man came out going, what are you doing with that thing? Throw it away. And he threw it all right.
He threw it all right, yeah.
The sextant.
Yeah.
And they kept the cigarette.
I
yeah.
believe it, of course.
Yeah, he was dead set. He was dangerous.
You know him.
Yeah. Yeah, and yet he was the chief mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd say to me, well, what are we doing now, eh? What?
Yeah.
And all this and that. I said, what? Hell,
Yeah.
we're doing this while we're going to do that. We'll do this. But I said, hang on a minute, listen. Now look, are you going up to the pickup this morning? He said, what? What do you mean by that? I said, well, go and get another 10 ABs, will you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to be funny, are we?
Yeah.
And he bolted, you know,
Oh, he was,
crackers.
he was a pain, mate. Yeah. So we got a bit into the characters and that, you know. In your years at sea, you would have had some highs and some lows, some good times, bad times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, great old mates like with your dad and Keithy and all those hell of a lot of terrific blokes around, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to get on the booze and have a booze. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
In an industry like that. I mean, it was the only release you could get to go and get pissed.
That's right.
And sometimes if somebody got a bit cheeky, you might have to tap them on the chin.
Yeah.
But, you know, but there was not a lot of that. If anybody got knocked around, they deserved it. You know, that's the way it was. And the funny thing happened too, I must say this about it, which was remarkable. The honesty in those days was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah.
Not if you had £100 and there wouldn't be many walking around with £100,
Yeah.
but if you had £100 and you threw it on your bunk, it'd stay there forever.
Yeah.
That's how good it was. I mean, that was just wonderful. But then later things changed.
Yeah.
Different
Good
people,
element come into it. Yeah.
different people, see. But that's how good they were. And also the other thing was, no matter how bad you were in a hangover, whatever had to be done, we used to go out and do it. You'd see the blokes be staggering around the place, but you'd do it.
Yeah.
And they were just wonderful. And that's because right in back of all of that, they had this sort of undying respect for the Union. You know what I mean? They really had this unshakable belief in doing the right thing, which was absolutely terrific. You know, and I loved all that. I was often really proud to be in amongst them. You know, I said, Jesus, I love these people. You know,
it's all changed now, mate.
Oh well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But there was a great affinity between them, your shipmates, and your union, which was so important.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's another bloke I think was on the Binborough of his, it was the Burglar, Carl the Bugler.
Oh yeah, well poor old K expired. He's gone to the
I
stock
would love to have got Carl. Yeah.
Yeah, he did tell a story or two. Yeah, quite a larrikin, lovable character.
Yeah, the old man tells a story about him when they were in the Queens, I think it was. They all, a few of them having a beer and they called the barmaid across. Don't say to him he was a U-boat captain. He used to bloody machine gun merchant seaman.
Yeah.
Poor old Carl.
Of course, yeah. He was a hell of a nice bloke.
Yeah.
He loved a cold stubby on a hot day.
Or a hot stubby on a cold day or whatever, yeah.
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
With the highs and lows and that, you know, and do you ever come across, have any like bad, you know, like hit a wharf or bad weather or anything, near misses or anything like that?
Well, yes, we did. I remember, unfortunately, with that Brisbane trader, we got caught one morning down, I suppose you realise that Hebe Reef in Tasmania.
Yeah.
How dangerous that could be, the entrance.
Reef.
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, we crashed over the top of that on the Brisbane trader. And not only she hit the first one, she lifted it. They were very strongly built, those ships.
Yeah.
They had frames about 15 or 16 inches apart, which was quite incredible.
Yeah.
But the Brisbane trader that morning, that fog, we hit that reef, and George Keats and I were down below, just about to get permission to slack the bolts off.
Yeah.
See? And then we hit. It's unbelievable. I've never heard a noise like it in my life. Yeah. I said, I think I'm going to heaven, or I'm not quite sure where we're going, but this is unbelievable. Yeah. Anyway, George said, I think we better take it on the tail. And I said, you got that right, and we blasted off out of there, and there was nothing to see. All we felt was this unbelievable crunch. And she hit the first rock and slid over the top of it.
Yeah.
Then the tide sort of is coming fast, as you know, the tide's very fast. And she hit the next piece. And then she sort of spun herself around, and the stern of the ship finished up on Lowhead Lighthouse.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
So, and she was, actually one engine remained intact, one propeller.
Yeah.
And she finished up going to Newcastle with one propeller and a tug.
Yeah.
But I think she was out of commission for about 5 months.
Shit.
Huge repair bill.
We hit Corsair Reef on the Townsville trader.
Well, that's where the time went.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, I remember, you're right. Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah. Bloody Old Tame was the skipper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had a fire on deck on that Brisbane trader. McDonnell was the old man.
Yeah.
And he behaved very well, he handled it very well, we did too. Our blokes were absolutely wonderful. Yeah. And, you know, other things, I've been aground on a little ship. I was on a little wooden ship, the Allen Wood. She had sort of back-to-back boarders. She was a funny little ship. She used to carry timber from the north coast. And she crashed onto, we're going up at Coffs Harbour, she crashed onto rocks on the port side of Juanita. And anyway, we got her off and just kept the bilges going, and they dragged her up on the beach and spotted her up a bit with some of the timbers, you know, and away she went. But I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
We had some
bloody gangway.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But we've had some violent trips across that Bass Strait.
Yeah.
Some of the worst, you could not believe, smashed cargo. I often used to think, God, we made it, we're back. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's a vicious place, that.
Oh, shit.
And it can turn, and it's so treacherous. It can turn on, 3 o'clock in the morning, this roar from the Southern Ocean, you can hear it coming at you. It's shocking.
Yeah, that's for sure, mate.
But a funny thing happened on that Cardross when I was there, when she was laid up. She had this material for the shaft. A welding spark or something hit it, and she caught fire down below. And old Jimmy Surplus and I was the boy, Jimmy Surplus and I were caught. They shut the watertight doors, and we were in all kinds of strife. But luckily enough, we were able to put it out.
Yeah.
You know, smothered it quickly enough. But geez, I was glad when that was over. But I learnt from that to be very, very vigilant about everything. So.
Yeah, yeah.
But we funny thing, on the Brisbane Trader, just out of interest, we had to go up to AUSN. She was only about, I think she might have done a maiden voyage. She had to go back up to AUSN for the warranty, for the building warranty.
Yeah.
And what do you reckon happened? We hit the Story Bridge. The mast, everything, bang.
Yeah.
And we're moving up, and this painter, the painters knocked on the poop, and this bloke said, what about, and bang, we hit it, and down come the mast.
Shit.
Radar, the whole bit. Yeah, someone made an unbelievable blunder.
Yeah.
With between high water and I could not
Should have had nothing in it. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, shit. The Seamen's Union of Australia, mate. What did it mean to you? How did it influence shipboard life and families?
Well, it had a great influence on me because I had this enormous respect for the officialdom because they were so genuine about it. You know what I mean? They were so genuine about everything. They had a wonderful understanding of the way the politics of the world was working, and they placed great importance on doing the best they could for the membership. And one very good thing about it that always amazed me, you hear, like you've heard these people with these disgusting work choices, shite that went on recently, Hockey and all these people saying, giving the union bosses a terrible cert, union, you know, every time he opened his gate, a union boss would jump out of his mouth, you know what I mean? And I kept saying to myself, they've got to be joking, these people. When I went to stop work meetings, mate, even right back to the day that I went to my first stop work meeting at Millers Point, union officials wanted you to give them your opinion. What do we do? What do you want us to do?
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want your opinion. I mean, it's amazing. And here are these clowns talking. I mean, it's just incredible. That's something that I was just thrilled with that. And you could get up and say your piece.
Yeah.
There was no way in the world I mean, it doesn't matter whether it was controversial or not. You get up and say your piece. And you were welcome to do it.
Yeah.
And even I don't know I haven't been to a stop work meeting for a while. But my last year in the industry, you were still very, very welcome to get up and say your piece.
Yeah.
And there was no way in the world of anybody not being prepared to listen to you and accept what you've had to say, you know, which I thought was absolutely wonderful. And nothing ever changed. Nothing ever changed in 50 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, almost 60 years, because that's how long I was in the industry.
It's changing a little bit now.
Is it?
Yeah. I think it might be still pretty right here in Brisbane because you've still got the old Seamen's official here.
Yeah.
But the ones that haven't got the Seamen's official, it's
Yeah.
changing.
Well, see, Mick Carr is still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing about with Mick Carr would probably be one of the most outstanding union officials in Australia.
Yeah.
He's a very clever man, but not only that, but he's got a great understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
The world around him, you know what I mean? And he could always go into bat, no matter what happened, he'd go into bat and you'd say to yourself, I know, if I ever talk to Mick Carr, I know that he's going to do the best he can for me. There's no doubt about it. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And a wonderful bloke. As a matter of fact, I was with his brother, Robert, was on the Impulse Roll with me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what happened to Robert. He was in the industry for quite a while. I think he might have taken the package.
I don't know. Yeah.
But Mick Carr, that's why, as you just said a little while ago, that's why I feel that there's still that influence, you know what I mean? As you said, the seafaring influence is there.
Yeah.
And he'd be just the right bloke for this. I mean, I'm so pleased he is there.
Yeah.
Because he's a very important cog.
Oh, that's right, mate. That's right. How did it, with the family's life, how did that play with that?
Not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy. My wife was absolutely brilliant with the children. I mean, I'd be away. Some of those jobs, for instance, I remember Lenny Carnegie and we jumped on a train at midnight, did that night, midnight horror to Newcastle on a train, and we joined an iron boat. And we were on that ship for 5 months. Now, that's a long, long time, mate.
Yeah.
And if you've got your wife at home struggling with 3 or 4 kids, she ought to get a Victoria Cross. My wife was absolutely wonderful. And I've never ever been so grateful for her. She was just a wonderful mother, but I mean, she was just so wonderful in doing everything. Well, she had to do everything.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. But she never ever complained about that because she knew that was the industry that I was in, that I'd chosen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she was just marvellous. But it's not a good life for people. I mean, actually, an awful lot of breakups occur because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah.
It's probably a lot better now because the swinger system probably helped a lot of it. But in those days, mate, it wasn't real good.
No.
Well, people being separated, it just didn't work. You know what I mean? I mean, if you really love someone, or if you had some great affection for somebody, you can't demonstrate that while you're up in the Arafura Sea.
That's right. I mean, at least in these days, now you've got emails and you've got bloody mobile phones that you can do it. But in your day, and even my day, up until only a couple of years ago, bloody, it was between ports, and if you were as you said, a couple of weeks between ports, no mail, no nothing.
Nothing, mate. No,
Yeah.
no contact at all.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we used to have the Port Kembla special. We'd go out, walk out of the middle pub at 10 o'clock and go home and ring our wives across to Troll Bob to ring up on the trunk line call, and then the first thing that would be said on the phone is, "You've been drinking."
Yeah, yeah, that's true, mate. That's true. Yeah. Any disputes in that, mate, shipboard or shorewise that you've been in?
What, personal disputes?
Oh, you know, like bloody Utah or anything like that, or any
Oh, yes,
disputes in that, yeah.
But the big one was we were MUA. That was the big one for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
But we've had quite a few disputes. But look, a funny thing, you know, I don't want to keep harping back to our officialdom, but with Evie Elliott, our General Secretary of the Seamen's Union, he was very clever because instead of us all rip-roaring and going completely berserk and charging down the gangway and sticking ships up home, or everywhere, he said, listen, it's easy to run down, but try getting back up.
Yeah.
And that used to make a lot of people think. And due to his influence, there was a good balance, you know what I mean? Like there were odd bits and pieces where we say, oh, you get lost, it's over, we'll stick out for a weekend or something, well, whatever, you know what I mean? But generally speaking, in actual fact, the Seamen's Union behaved very, very responsibly.
Yeah.
And the MUA was very responsible.
Yeah. With BHP 9 times out of 10, they go out of their way to antagonise you.
They would do everything that was possible if they could find a way. If they'd have been working in Hollywood, engineering a script or something, how to disrupt and ruin people's lives, they'd have been a great success.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Because they really knew how to stuff your life up for you. And they were nasty people.
Yeah.
And they throw the law at you at every available opportunity. You know what I mean? And yet later on, very much later on, it picked up a little bit.
Yeah.
The attitude changed. It was quite. I was surprised. There was I don't say there was a friendship there. Don't misunderstand me.
Yeah.
But there was a better understanding.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like ANL, they're now a non-entity. BHP.
Really.
Yeah. BHP is. I mean, there might be a couple of ships called Iron, but they're not BHP.
That's not. No.
I think the Iron Chieftain's owned by Canadian Pacific, which is the same sort of Staticona.
Oh yeah.
The Iron Monarch is owned by Bluescope, which is probably an offshoot somewhere down along the line of BHP, but not BHP.
Yeah.
And if there is any other iron boats around, I doubt it. Yeah.
That's very sad, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So we've got the disputes, we've got the importance of stopwork meetings. The seamen, how were they picked up in that?
What, in my day?
Yeah.
As a boy?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was in the pickup. It was like you were in a cattle yard. It was absolutely awful. I mean, we were deck boys. We weren't allowed in the pickup. We were out in the street. You had to sit out in the gutter and wait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's all right. That's fair enough. But in the pickup, when I finally got in the pickup, it was very corrupt. You'd stand up and you wouldn't have a chance at the word of getting a job. There might be 20 of you. Someone might have a red carnation, or he might have something hanging over his ear, or his hat might be turned back to front, or he dropped a newspaper on the deck, or something like that. They get him, they walk past you. But as soon as they picked him, or if they walked past you, everybody used to bail out.
Yeah.
So they come and go, oh, there's no one here. See?
Yeah.
Because because it was so infamous.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But that's why I was just so pleased when the roster arrived. It was just made a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there was a huge amount of corruption. I mean, I used to shake my head and I say, what's going on? You know, it's amazing. But with the roster, well, the Seamen's Union, the executive of the Seamen's Union, they were the people who brought this into being, you know, which was absolutely wonderful.
Schedule C.
Well, Schedule C was a bit of a worry, wasn't it? I mean, it's a bit of a worry. Sort of great changes, weren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
huge changes, you know.
The the leave system when it first came in, we've already gone over that bit, haven't we? Already the leave system and that.
Yeah. Well, actually, we have,
Yeah.
But I thought that was absolutely brilliant because you knew exactly where you were. You know what I mean? It was.
Yeah.
It worked so well, and it wasn't haphazard. You know. I thought it was absolutely wonderful.
Going with the good old days of doing 12 months and getting 2 weeks leave.
Oh well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is right. See?
Yeah.
And then and what used to happen. This is how you would lose a job. You'd have some very important domestic arrangement at home.
Yeah.
So you'd jump off a ship.
That's right.
And you'd lose a job.
Yeah.
See? I mean, and the difference was when the roster came, it made all this huge difference.
Yeah.
I mean, to our benefit, it was just brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. The SRF.
SRF. Well, I think when I look back on the SRF, and I used to see some of my great old shipmates walk away from the industry in retirement with a suitcase full of their chattels and 2 weeks' wages and nothing else. I used to say to myself, this is a tragedy, mate. And when that SRF arrived, I said, this has just got to be perfect. It was wonderful. Now, I think, what did we finish at? It was $1.35, I think, in 1970.
Yeah, I think $1.35 we put in, yeah.
Yeah, but it's sort of better and better and better and better as time went by. And I thought it was just a wonderful thing to happen for us. And it was just brilliant foresight from our executive to do this. They saw the importance of it much earlier, but there were a lot of problems with it in this sense that some people were worried about a tame cat union.
Yeah.
Some, you know what I mean? And it's lots of little things that didn't look right.
Yeah.
But when the final agreement was reached, I think when the aggregate wage came in I think it was 1970.
Yeah.
I thought that was superb. The only thing wrong with the aggregate wage was a lot of ambitious officers tried to flog you to death with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They said, "Oh, well, this is the aggregate wage. You'll have to work." I said, "What about? Are there any special?" Oh no.
Yeah.
I said, "You've got to be joking."
Yeah.
I said, "Santa Claus is dead."
That's right. Yeah.
That was the only thing wrong with it. But we got over that.
Yeah.
Got through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right, mate. That's right.
I think the union, to be honest with you, I have to say, they've got a lot to be very proud of.
Yeah.
Over the years, the developments that have occurred through their own wisdom, I think, it's just been wonderful.
There's the union school we used to have.
I loved every minute of that, but it faded.
Yeah.
Which was very sad.
Yeah.
I wondered about it. I often wondered about it, you know. See, a lot of things about it was, what I did like was, instead of having some unhinged person who took it, say, a delegate's job, he'd have had that background, he'd had that training.
Yeah.
And he'd have known exactly what the position was, and it would have made it so much better for everybody, and also so much better for the industry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was very sad that it didn't sort of really continue.
Yeah, that's true, mate. That's true. I mean, it's a bloody good area down there.
Oh yes, of course, of course.
When did you retire, mate? And what was your last ship?
Well, my last ship was the Iron Prince. I was a butler there, and I can assure you of this, that I earned every buck I made on that ship, because I was on my own.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
And I was expected to do it. And I had to do it because there was no one else.
True.
It's that simple. But I to be honest, it was a redundancy thing. I mean, you know, I got turfed. But I wouldn't be there now. But I would have stayed a lot longer. Actually, I was 51 years in the industry, technically speaking.
Yeah.
But I loved that. I loved the trade union part of my life. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was just terrific.
What are you doing these days?
Well, these days we've got our children, we've got books, we've got the TV, we've got a computer. I go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and do a little bit of boxing now and again, just in case anybody tries to get a bit smart with me. I know how to still deliver a left hook if I've got to send one out.
Yeah.
But a funny thing, that which reminds me of when I was a kid at school, the Christian Brothers College at Waverley. It was a very involved sporting prowess there. Like there was Tony Madigan,
Yeah.
brilliant boxer, great, terrific footballers. There were all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And we had a sports master, Brother Graney, he's a Christian brother, and he said to me one day, you know, it's not a lot of you, Smith. I said, no, there isn't. No, you're right. And he said, God will get you into heaven, but you've got to look after yourself while you're here.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
And he did. I used to have all these boxing lessons and all that. I really couldn't really handle myself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was very pleased about that because there were times in the industry in years gone by
Yeah.
when you really had to look after yourself, you know. But I mean, I've never been a violent person, and it wasn't for that reason
Yeah.
that I did it.
Are you with the vets or anything? The Maritime Union vets and that group?
I was in that earlier, yeah, but I haven't been back.
Yeah.
No, I've got too many distractions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I didn't have so many distractions, yes.
Yeah.
But tell me this just out of interest, is it ticking over or?
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's pretty strong down in Victoria. They've got split it up into 3 different groups now: Geelong, Melbourne, and Western Port.
Oh, that's speaks yeah.
Newcastle's a really strong one. Freddie Krause is the president there. He's the national president because he took over from when Billy Bodman died.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
yeah. What a championship mate Billy Bodman was.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a shame, wasn't it, poor old Bill?
Oh, yeah.
He was just a lovely bloke.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you really wanted to look for a good shipmate, he's the perfect example of what a good shipmate is.
Yeah, yeah. I never saw with Bill. I
just a
knew
wonderful
him for
bloke.
years. I never saw him. And what you know a little bit of it today. What do you think of the way the industry is today?
Well, Wayne, I really don't know a lot about it, but it worries me to think that maybe it's gone off the path that I experienced.
Yeah,
And that's a bit sad because there were so many different people who regarded the industry and the union and their life, you know, their industry, so with great importance.
yeah, yeah.
But sometimes I wonder if people are just busting their ass to get a buck,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's the trouble.
And forget the rest of it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But it's too important to forget.
Oh, shit, yeah. Yeah,
That's one of the things.
Yeah.
The way I'm looking at it, you know.
yeah. That's just about it, mate, unless you got anything else you want to add. But before you do, I've got one question.
Yeah, sure.
Where did the nickname the Count of Vaucluse come from?
Well, I was always a bit of a lair, and I used to like invest in some pretty snappy clothes.
Yeah,
And an old mate of mine, a lovely old bloke, Charlie Davidson, he was a signal master at South Head for about 15 years during the war, but he came into the industry about 1948, just around about the time I came into the industry. And he said, if you've got the arse out of your pants, don't look like it. Look like a swell.
yeah,
He said, just be a swell, you know.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. It appealed to me, you know,
Yeah.
being a bit of a lair,
yeah,
a bit of a larrikin myself. I said, I like that, Charlie. That sounds good to me. Anyway, we were known as almost inseparable as the Count and the Duke of Vaucluse.
Oh, right, yeah.
But a funny thing, we used to finish up on a lot of ships together. Like that Union Steamship Company, I was in the Camo, the Keene, the Cowhigh, the Caroon, and the Kimona.
My last deck boys job, the Korean.
Oh, the Caroon, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Charlie and I, we'd step ashore and look like swells. And of course we'd come back with about 2 bob. But it didn't matter.
Yeah.
We still looked like swells. You know? Yeah. that was
Yeah.
that's
Is that right? One of the skippers said something about I can't argue with him. He uses big words that I don't even bloody know.
That's what he told me. Yeah. He said, it's absolutely useless my arguing with you. He said, you're far ahead. He said, have you got a dictionary in your pocket? Yeah.
Which skipper was that?
Oh, Bertrand, I think it's his
Yeah.
name. Very weird.
Yeah.
Not a nice person. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
Bobby,
I
yeah.
enjoyed the industry. I have to say this,
Yeah.
that I'm just so pleased over the years with all the wonderful characters that I've met, you know.
Yeah.
And they far, of course, there's always, no matter who you are or where you are, you'll always run into a dog somewhere.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, it was a really wonderful experience for me.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute for that. And I'm sure that the atmosphere that was created by the union in those days was amazing. Like, I mean, even down that Hungry Mile, I walked down the Hungry Mile quite a few times.
Yeah.
And if you were lucky enough to run into somebody, they'd say, listen, you're not looking crash hot. You want a quid?
Yeah.
They were amazing. I mean, that was wonderful. Oh, and another thing interesting too, when I had my serious injury on the Brisbane Trader, when I had my very severe injury, that mob on that trader, we just at about that time got taxi money. Not one of them ever took a penny out of the taxi money. They sent it over here.
Yeah. Right.
Right into this house.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was absolutely wonderful. It stopped me having to sell a car from the start.
Yeah.
And I was there. I mean, these are the people that are in the industry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was absolutely marvellous. But I have no regrets about it. I think it was absolutely wonderful. And I'm just sorry that it sort of came to the end it did with the scandalous attempt of that federal government trying to destroy it the way they did. It was just dreadful. Reith and all these other creeps. It was absolutely, it was disgusting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, black dogs, black uniforms, black midnight, trying to tear every, it was just disgusting. But the thing about it is this, that I'm not over it and I never ever will be.
Yeah.
But my fondest memory is being in the industry with all those wonderful people.